Hey, I'm Susan Gleaton, and I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist, and I just love helping people heal from digestive disorders. And that is how I ran into Kelly, who is the mother of Justin, and I'm just going to let her tell you her story.
Well, my son, he is 13, and his whole life, I've struggled with feeding him. I'm talking the extreme, where he wouldn't want to eat bread, he wouldn't eat soups, he wouldn't eat sandwiches, and I basically fed him wrong, which is nuggets, French fries, the typical McDonald's fast food.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the condition I was in at that time. I just fed him the best I could in the condition that I was in. And now there is a result from that, which his intestines have swollen. I've gone to many doctors. His whole system just started to shut down. He just got migraines. He started throwing up regularly, stomach cramping, diarrhea. And I went to doctor after doctor after doctor, and nobody could help me. They're like, I don't know what's happening. I ended up going to Lisa Hauk's clinic, and she said, there's a great nutritionist that can maybe help us look into this. And we got to Miss Susan.
Yep.
And Miss Susan started going with the blood test, and the blood test saved us, gave us all the knowledge we needed. Found out really what is he allergic to, and we found out that he's allergic to multiple foods, and not just the bad foods, but I'm even talking healthy food. And he's also a very high allergy boy, so we were dealing with outdoor allergies, and we were dealing with food allergies. And Miss Susan was able to break it up by giving the blood test, which showed us, hey, this is allergies outdoors, this is food. And then she put us on a program, and we have seen such results with Justin. And it is the answers we've been praying for. We now know what's wrong with him, and we now have hope that he's healing, and we're watching the progress happen by following Miss Susan's program.
All right. So I want to tell you a little bit about the program. Well, first of all, I got to work with Justin and Kelly, who are right in my backyard, almost. But I also work with people all across the United States. So we can work by phone, or we can work virtually through our online portal. And so Justin had some allergy testing done, but it was skin prick, right?
Right.
And so we did a blood allergy panel, which showed that he didn't have as many food allergies as had previously been thought. But then we also did a really good food sensitivity test, which showed that he did have sensitivities to a whole bunch of foods, even good for you foods, like Kelly said. And that is what made all the difference. So when Justin started with me, Kelly and Justin together filled out a symptom survey. And the symptom survey is just kind of a global symptoms that you might have that are reflective of inflammation. And his total on that symptom survey was 114. So we did the testing, and then we made a food list. Now, making that food list was a little tricky because Kelly describes Justin as kind of a picky eater. So we only wanted foods on that list that Justin would eat. So he didn't even have that many foods on his list, but at least they were foods that he would eat. So tell me what happened with that list.
Yeah, with that list, he was a picky eater from the start, and he has food fears. So Miss Susan just said, hey, let's break it down. Out of these 4 things that for this week I need him to try to eat, out of the 4, what do you think he would try? And talk to Justin. And we found sometimes just 1 in each category. Some in the spices, 0. None. And she's like, that's okay. Let's just work with what he will do, and with the bare minimum of breaking it down, introducing, resetting his system, or however that works. She knows all. She's like the bottomless pit of information of that. However it works. So we took the bare minimum and followed it strictly. He did break the code once.
Yep, yep,
And
yep. Tell me
yes,
about that.
well, I took him to church, and we have this sweet lady that brings donuts every week. And I was busy doing church work, and he was not in the sanctuary, and she was passing out donuts, and it was not on donuts is far. Like that would be
They
when
weren't on his list,
they
were
are
they?
not on his list, and he snuck them, and it made him have diarrhea. And after church, I'm like, okay, what happened? What did I feed you this morning? We went through it, and he finally confessed and said, I snuck a donut from, Miss Carol, who was passing out donuts. And so,
Right.
but that was a good lesson for him because he realized, wow, stripping our system to just retrain it and give it the stuff it needs to heal. He hasn't done it since. So,
Right.
so you can mess up, but it was a good lesson. But
Right, right, right. So Justin's first list were foods that the food sensitivity test showed were not causing inflammation for him. So that's the foods he started with and ones he was comfortable eating. So his total symptom survey score is 114 in a bunch of different areas, but one of the symptoms he was having a lot were migraine headaches,
yeah,
um, and also digestive symptoms of all kinds. You mentioned the diarrhea, but also just throwing up often. So
mm-hmm.
in the digestive area, the total of his symptoms was 18. And after 10 days of following his protocol, which
Yep.
included the donut incident,
Yeah,
correct?
including
Which
the donut.
included the donut incident. So even after the donut, then he got back on his protocol. His digestive symptoms went down to a 9, his from 18, and his total symptoms went from 114 down to 60. So this
Yep.
kid is feeling pretty good.
Yes.
And so tell me his feelings or your feelings during this time, like just seeing him get better.
Yes, the progress is hard because, it's a whole new lifestyle. So that was a challenge, but him not throwing up and being stuck in the restroom with diarrhea and being so crippled with migraines and even his energy level. I mean, she not only worked with us with food, she also worked on with the doctors, which said, hey, his iron level's low, his protein's low, his electrolytes are low. And so she even gave us the vitamins on top of to merge with the healthy food on the list. And between the two and her working with our doctors, the improvement was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, we can tell his gut is recovering. We can tell our little boy's coming back to normal, and he's being able to function. It's a slow process. He's not 100%, but we just started the program. I mean, this
Right.
is just a few
Yeah.
weeks.
You're about 10, well, no, you're about 20, 25 to 30 days into. So the
Right.
last time we did a symptom survey was at 20 days. So it was 114 down to 60. Now it's down to 42. And
Mm-hmm.
just, overall symptoms improving everywhere.
Yeah.
I suppose he hasn't done any more slip ups with anything. So he has
No.
been excellent through all this. We have had the advantage of it being summer, which is good and bad,
Yeah.
because there's so many activities in the summer. But
We're
he
not
is
running around doing school
yeah,
and being tempted with, hey, tonight the family's packed and we need to grab a pizza. He can't have
yeah,
pizza yet. He can't have fast food yet. He can't have Taco Bell. The
right,
things that are fast and easy for families when you're busy. So summer has really saved us
yeah,
for not running and caving to the fast fix.
right. So the plan is for Justin to be back to much more normal eating by the time school rolls around, which is always way too soon.
Mm-hmm.
But Kelly, what do you think will be Justin's um, favorite thing that he will get to do now that he hasn't been able to do previously? Or, what do you think he might be looking forward to?
Well, the main thing is when he was sick for 6 months, I'm talking throwing up, 6 months of throwing up, 6 months of diarrhea, 6 months of stomach cramps. And that created a fear of being in public. being with friends, going anywhere because he didn't know if diarrhea would hit. He didn't know if he would be in the youth group and he'd have to puke. You know, it was the fear of being you know, he isolated himself and being around people, being social was a nightmare. So I think he's going to get back to, hey, I want to hang out with my friends. I want to shoot hoops. I'd like to go swimming. You know, when
Fantastic.
school starts, sports is a long ways down. We're focusing on music now, you know,
Mhm.
because his insides are healing. But it's basically being social and being with his
Oh,
friends
yeah.
and just doing what he normally did, just going getting a haircut, you know, even
Yeah.
being afraid to get a haircut because he's like, what if I have to throw up? You know,
Yeah.
that's scary when you can't
Hmm.
control what's
Hmm.
happening with your body.
Right, right. And that is so important. He's 13.
Yeah, he's
Right.
13.
Yeah. Such formative years. And yeah. So I am so glad I was able to help Justin. And I'm just so looking forward to, yeah, to keep seeing the
To seeing the result.
progress. Yeah.
No, well, you have been such a blessing, and it was so frustrating not knowing what's wrong with him
Yeah.
and nobody being able to tell us, and even how to rebuild what has happened. I mean, this is 13 years of allergies and being allergic to stuff and me feeding him things he was allergic to, and on top of a bad lifestyle of just fast food, you
Yeah.
know, and just the combo of that created 6 months of his whole system just shutting down to the point that he might have almost got hospitalized because he became anemic. So between your information and working with the doctors and giving us, because we don't know what we're doing, but we're so glad you do know
Yeah.
what you're doing. So having someone to co stand by us side by side and say, let's go a week at a time and get him, let's see how he's doing, and watching the results is just such a blessing. I don't know what we would have done without you. So
Right.
I'd
Yeah.
recommend the program.
Right.
If she's so knowledgeable,
Well,
anything
it
you need.
is fantastic. And I love working with people. So if you're watching this and you want to find out how you can work with me, go to susangleatonrd.com and fill out the little form.